Hey guys, I'm CLINTFLAIRWOO. Welcome back to another Division 2 video. And yes, if you enjoy his content, then please drop a like. And if you want to see more Division 2 content with a little bit of breakpoint on the side, please subscribe for more. Let's do this. Now guys, rifles in the Division have been underutilized for a long time now. We've had the Merciless drop a few months back, and now we've had the Diamondback drop, which is okay in PvE, in all honesty. Other than that, the rifles are very under-buffed. To put quite simply, they're not in a great place at all. So getting the patch notes last week in terms of what they intend to deliver buff-wise for these weapons is such a great addition to Title Update 6, because it gives you that much more diversity in terms of what you can use when you PvE and now PvP. Now, the first weapon I want to talk about is the Merciless rifle. Now, that's something that I grinded for and grinded, and when I did finally drop, I was in heaven, in all honesty. And the only reason why I wanted to use the Merciless was the holstered talent. Now, as you can see on the screen right about now, this weapon has been buffed. While holstered, landing a shot has a 5% chance to deal plus 100% up from 20% damage as explosive damage. And the first thing that someone's going to say in the comment section is they have nerfed explosive damage. And yes, it has taken a huge hit, and I completely understand your decision not to even consider this whatsoever. The first thing I'm going to say is, yeah, there's a 5% chance. Look at ARs. Look at the CTAR as an example with a really silly RPM. And then you compare that with the Merciless as your holstered weapon. Then you have bullets are going to hit a lot of the time on your NPCs. So that 5% chance, again, that's going to deal 100% explosive damage. If you have some explosive damage on the build already, just say 40% on one of your gear pieces. So that's 140% damage. And then you're going to want to look at your demolitionist specialization. That will give you an extra 25%. So you're looking 165% off the bat. I'm sure there's something else you can add to that to make it a little bit more special. But yes, there is that option to use this weapon because it's had a huge buff for PvE, in my opinion. So Merciless now with the holstered talent is in a much better place. It's something I would deeply consider using. Now, in terms of the weapon itself, it has received another buff, which we'll go through now. The RPM has been increased from 260 to 400. This weapon is equipped with binary trigger that fires on trigger, pull and release. Pulling the trigger fires primer rounds that stay embedded in an enemy. Releasing the trigger fires detonator rounds that detonate all primers on the enemy it hits. Now, each primer detonated gains 100% up from 75% damage per primer detonated. The PvP version remains at 75%. Only one enemy can have primers, and at most 5 primers can be embedded. You know, if you want to embed 5 primers into a huge, big chain gun wielding Wazak, then yes, it's going to deal some crazy damage. So the Merciless, yes, is a decent weapon, and it has had a little bit of a buff. So it's something, again, to consider for PvE. And in all honesty, for guys that like seeker mines and explosive builds, then that is a weapon that I would have on my holstered talent. Now the Diamondback again, as I've discussed, is a decent, okay-ish PvE weapon that can deal some crazy million shots, you know, and it's something that I would consider. It has had a little bit of a buff. Now Diamondback randomly marks an enemy. Hitting that enemy consumes the mark, guaranteeing a critical hit with 20% total damage. A new random target is marked afterwards and whenever you reload. After hitting 5 marked targets, gain plus 50% reload speed, plus 20% damage, and all shots fired are guaranteed critical hits for 15 seconds. While drawn, each time a round is loaded, gain plus 20% up from 15% bonus armor for 3 seconds. And yes, then if you knew this already, although the current live version's text say 20%, this was bugged and only did 15%. It now grants 20% instead of 15%. So you will be able to deal some more damage in PvE. Now PvP, it does have a new functionality. Headshots against players are guaranteed to critical hit and provide a stack of deep fangs. Non-player enemies such as NPCs and player skills will still be marked randomly by the Diamondback and also provide stacks when hit. So again, it's a so-so talent or weapon I'd use in PvP. It's not something I consider, in all fairness. I think there's so many more different options. However, for PvE, it's got that little bit of a buff, so you can do some more damage, and I do like that. It's something I will definitely test out in PvE come Title Update 6. Now, rifles, in essence, have needed some love, and it's great, absolutely great to hear that in terms of the weapon balancing they're going to put together, that rifles are top of the tree in terms of damage, and it will give you some absolutely silly, mental, insane raw damage bonuses. Let's go through those now. Now, the ACRS is going to get a 19% damage increase, which is a really, really good, sexy amount to think about. The M16 is a 68% damage increase buff. I can only guess, again, it's something that I've not really utilised that weapon in the past, but to get a 68% damage increase, it must have been absolutely trash. It currently is not in a good place, so to get that buff must mean it's in a better place now. It's something I'd like to test out, or anyone on the PTS testing out, let me know below in the comments section. Is this weapon any good now, or is it still shit? Now, the classic M1A, 39% damage increase. That's a good, sexy amount. The SOCOM M1A, 30% damage increase. The M1A CQB, that's a 30% damage increase. The lightweight M4 has 11% damage increase. The LVOAC will get a 12% damage increase. The SIG 716, which to be fair was my favourite rifle in all updates of the Division 2, is getting a nerf. Lo and behold, of -7%. The 1886 is getting a buff, the 20% damage increase and less damage drop off past optimal range. And the Urban MDR is getting a 16% damage increase. There will be less damage drop off past the optimal range. And the MK17 is getting a 17% damage increase, which is not bad. So it levels the playing field for rifles and puts most of those weapons in such a very healthy position, whereas before we'd use the SIG 716 or the MK17. Everything else was quite underwhelming and definitely underpowered. And I'm really keen to see what the M16 does now in PvE and see how much damage you can push out with that weapon. So in terms of rifles, they will be in a much better place. And this is exactly what the game needs, is that little bit of a push in the right direction to give these weapon archetypes the love and the TLC that they definitely deserve. Now guys, what do you think about rifles? Do you feel they are viable as it stands? Because I don't think they are in any sense, in my honest opinion. I think they're okay at best. But do you feel now they will be powerful? Do you feel it's something that we utilise in PvE? Do you think you'll test it out in PvP? But guys, I'd love to hear your comments, so drop one below. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like. You want to see more content, then please smash the sub button. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.